grown up now.
Right.
Wow.
Well, the Eurovision Song Contest and other grown-up news, it's been thrown into chaos.
Yeah, Spain, Ireland, Slovenia and the Netherlands will boycott next year's competition in protest after Israel's participation was confirmed.
More nations are expected to follow, with Iceland, Belgium and Finland reportedly considering pulling out.
So we're joined now by Dr. Eurovision and Eurovision expert Paul Jordan. Paul, what do you make of this decision?
Good afternoon. Well, it's really quite depressing, really, because there are no winners here, and it feels like it's, Eurovision is meant to be joyous. It feels a bit kind of murky and a bit depressing, really. I've seen on my social media feeds this morning friends falling out over this, so it's not the most joyous day for Eurovision fans.
It seems to be extraordinary that for the years that the war in Gaza went on, there was sort of no big boycott movement of Eurovision amongst the participating countries. And now that there's been a peace deal signed between Hamas and Israel, now's the time that the big boycott movement comes. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me.
And that's the thing, and there is a lot of kind of double standards here, because all the countries that boycotted were also in Tel Aviv in 2019 when Israel hosted the competition. Now, of course, the situation is very different, but, at what point does Eurovision become a bit of a moral compass for what's going on in the world and, policing what's happening in other countries? It's very, very complicated, and I'll very briefly explain, if I may, the complexities around the Israeli broadcaster, because the Netanyahu government want Israel in the competition, but the Israeli broadcaster hold the Netanyahu government to account. Now, that's because they're protected by the EBU, who organise Eurovision. If they're thrown out of Eurovision, Netanyahu doesn't have any incentive to keep them going, and he could technically crush the broadcaster. So there's more at stake here than just Eurovision. This is actually about freedom of the press in Israel and indeed democracy.
The irony of all of this, the total irony of all this is in the name of Palestine, in the name of Gaza, a country that pretty much, to my limited knowledge of Eurovision, very few artists have ever performed in that competition would be able to play or sing without being stoned or shot or chucked off a building, etc., etc.
It's really complex, and I'm not an expert in the Middle East, but what I would say is that Eurovision is meant to be joyous, and unfortunately it's brought people into conflict. And Eurovision is an amazing event. It's unique in the television world, and we've all grown up with it. It's 70 years old next year. It's meant to be fun, and unfortunately people, I think, are using it for their own ends.
I suppose the comparison people always bring about is Russia, which has been expelled from Eurovision. But
yes,
Russia was also expelled from the global diplomatic order. It's been expelled from the G8. It has banking restrictions in terms of being able to trade with countries in Europe. It has all of these different restrictions. It's not a member of the sort of international global order of alliances in the way that all these other countries are, and in a way that Israel still is.
That's right, and the Russian broadcaster were actually thrown out of the competition, not because of the war, but because they broadcast Russian government propaganda, which was against the rules. Now, technically, the Israeli broadcaster has not broken those rules. And there's lots to be celebrated about Israel in Eurovision. The first ever trans winner, Dana International, came from Israel. But there's also, I understand, high feelings, and what's happening in Gaza is a humanitarian catastrophe. It's very, very complicated, but it just shows you that Eurovision doesn't exist in a bubble. Politics comes into it, like it does with the World Cup in Qatar, and it did with Olympic Games in Beijing. Eurovision's not immune to that, but the organisers themselves haven't done themselves any favours by being inconsistent with the rules that they enforce.
OK, Paul, thank you very much for joining us. That's Eurovision expert Paul Jordan. Now, let us know what you think about that one, won't you?
Absolutely, but now it's time for a brand new Great British giveaway. Your chance to win our biggest
Put your teeth back
our
in.
biggest cash prize. No. Our biggest cash prize to date.
It's a load of money. Here you go. Here's how you win it.
It's the big one. Your chance to win a whopping £85,000 in tax-free cash. The largest cash prize we've given away to date. That's like over £7,000 a month extra in your bank account each month for 12 whole months. That's a year of yes. Yes to holidays. Yes to treats. Yes to shopping trips. Yes to home improvements. What would you say yes to? For a chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5.